Introducing RAML. RAML, or RESTful API Modeling Language, is a simple, structured, and succinct way of describing RESTful APIs. The resources are defined inside of RAML, the HTTP methods that can be used on each resource, any method request parameters in their data type, the response types and sample responses, schemas, and more. RAML is developed to help out the current API ecosystem. RAML encourages reuse, enables discovery and pattern sharing, and aims for merit-based emergence of best practices. Another great thing about RAML is it's a non-proprietary, vendor-neutral, open specification. Let's look at some of the ways that RAML files can be used. They can be used to auto-generate API documentation, specifically for an API console or API portal, or using one of the hundreds of other tools. It can be used to generate mock endpoints, so an API can be interactively tested before it is built in an API console. It can also be used to auto-generate an implementation interface with server-side generators in Mule using API-Kit. There's also multiple tooling available for Node.js, Java, .NET, and Python. It can also be used to enable auto-discovery of endpoints for users in tools like AnyPoint Studio, a tool that we'll be spending a lot of time in the future. Now, what does the RAML syntax look like? Well, RAML is based on broadly used standards such as YAML and JSON. It uses a human-readable data serialization format where data structure hierarchy is specified by indentations. So one of the big things with RAML is it does count white space. It does count the indentation as being representative of what inherits the actual structure, what inherits in the actual structure. So as you work more and more with RAML, you'll find this indentation-based scheme to be very beneficial in allowing the API specification to be very clearly read and maintained. So how does one define resources and methods in RAML? Well, as we had mentioned in earlier module, resources are the objects identified by the web service URL that you want to act upon using the HTTP method used for the request. All resources are going to begin with a slash in RAML, as you can see on the right, the flights resource. Any methods and parameters nested under a resource belong to and act upon that resource. That's where the indentation comes in. So the get and post you see at the beginning of the RAML definition on the right apply to flights. Nested resources are used for a subset of a resource to narrow it. So in this case, underneath flights, we have another parameter that can be added of ID. Now you'll notice ID is wrapped in curly braces. This represents a URI parameter. So a dynamic value would be passed here when the API is called.